Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. I finally remember that it's Thursday. We have updated and changed our time a little bit. So thank you, everyone, for readjusting your time to watch us. As always, we have a beautiful panel of Irina and Bruno with us. Kara will be joining us in just a little bit. We have um, great new things coming up for all of you. And to get started, today's topic is a topic that it hits us on the spot. It's the power of self-discipline. Self-discipline is what gets us to move to the next level, to get out of our comfort zone and actually make it in life. And for today's topic, Bruno is going to be leading the subject. So without further ado, let's give Bruno a nice applause. Cheer him on. All right, Bruno. So take the floor, all yours.
So, thank you, first of all of you that are here today. And today we are going to talk about the power of self-discipline. Now, why? Because it's such a key component in our life. Because without discipline, we don't do what we have to do. And discipline is extremely important when it comes to organization and giving some sort of structure in our life. Because the mind, the body, the spirit, our life needs a routine. Spontaneity, being spontaneous, is very good and sometimes it is needed. But a routine is super important because we need something that we can hang on to, something that keeps us moving forward, right? You can be the deadliest tank in the world, or you can be the most amazing ship, but if you don't know where you're going, even the slowest ship will get there first. So organization, structure, consistency, discipline, I think it's something that I think it's really a topic that is needed to talk about, so yeah, I mean, John, for example, how much has discipline impacted your life?
Well, I can tell you how much it has impacted me when I have not been disciplined. It's the biggest price to pay in life, to not be disciplined. It's like the power of education. You know, you can either pay the power of education of going either through college or being self-taught. Whichever way is still you're paying for your education, because either you're paying it with money or you're paying it with time or you're paying it with both. But being not disciplined enough to take that path and being ignorant, because that is the correct word, being ignorant is even more expensive, because that's how people take advantage of you. Or in real life, on the day-to-day life, being undisciplined may cost you things that you really wanted, and just because you did not commit it, you lost it.
Yes. Irina, what about you?
You know what? When you talk about self-discipline, it goes back to my childhood. Because I think we all have been disciplined, right, by our parents, and we knew that the homework has to be done. We have to, like brush our teeth every morning, every evening. We have to go to bed at a certain time of the night. So I think like the basics was already instilled in us since our childhood, and then obviously as we grow, we take on all these skills and we up level them for ourselves, right? So when we are grown up, we know that we have the responsibilities and we have to discipline ourselves, because if there are no parents who are going to be on top of us, we are the ones in charge and responsible, right? So discipline, it's all about not necessarily to do things that we like, but the things that we have to do, right? And as you mentioned, Bruno, about that, our mind likes like the structure, same with our energy. Like, since we are all energetic beings, our energy has to have the direction and the structure. because this way, when we have some organizations in place, we could function so much more efficient, and it also comes down our nervous system. Because if we have some kind of plan in place, it's easier for us just to check the boxes and say what was done and what still has to be accomplished.
Yeah, I love that. I love that perspective from the both of you. The thing that really came to me when like both of you were giving your perspectives was like just like going and doing it, right? And like, for example, I think like I believe that, well, for example, the way I was raised, you're talking about childhood, yeah, Irina. The way, for example, I was raised, right? I was raised with everything in my hand. In terms of like, I mean, I'd get home, everything would be done for me, right? I mean, like my mom would tell me to do shit, but I wouldn't do nothing. And then she wouldn't end up just protecting me and stuff, right? And that cost me in the end. I had no discipline, and I wouldn't really, I would submit more than I would actually go and take, in terms of like going and do. And I think that's what really discipline for me it's all about, is going and doing it, saying that you want to do it and you do it, right? Not thinking it, not feeling it, right? Actually doing the thing. And the only way you can do the thing is by doing the thing, right? I think that discipline is also a way for you to keep yourself in check, in terms of like, because again, right, we in life, we need some sort of stress that, you know, like in the right quantities can be very beneficial, and that only comes with discipline, right? I don't know a person that obviously sleeps all day long and is happy. In fact, I think the person is pretty depressed, right? But it's also one of those things where like I don't really believe a lot of people, when people listen about discipline, when people talk about discipline, people immediately believe that it's something hard, something tough, something enduring, something boring, something that is going to weigh on you, right? Because it's kind of something tough, right? John, elaborate on that.
Well, the thing is that all of us, when you were mentioning how you're related and how you have your own situation with your mom when you were younger, I think we all went through that. In the Hispanic culture, that's why we have la chancla. In other countries, they have a wooden spoon, and in other countries, they have a belt. And that's back in the days. That's what I used to call the psychologist or the psychiatrist at that point. And some of us grew up with that and help us, get ourselves on check. Nowadays, you cannot look at a kid harshly because that's already bad. So I'm a little bit against that. I'm not saying that people should be beating on kids, but I believe that it really did make a big difference in our generations, because those little things did set us straight.
Yeah. Yes. Awesome. Arena, what about you?
What about me? I just love the concept of self-discipline, because it just shows how much in charge of your life you are, right? And it's something that we are constantly improving upon and growing with. And especially if we promise ourselves to do something, the best thing is actually stick to the word, right? Because at the end of the day, if you can fulfill your promises to yourself, you'll be able to fulfill the promises to everybody else.
Very true.
So self-discipline is very important. It starts with ourselves, and then we project that on everybody around. And if we are trained to be disciplined, we expect others to be the same way, right? We are not going to tolerate any BS from anybody.
And that is important. Sometimes being disciplined is not the same as being firm on somebody else's, because you can be really firm and strong in yourself and your work ethic and everything else, but you cannot force somebody else to be the same way as you are. And I like the point that you just brought, that once you're disciplined, part of discipline is not only within yourself but also being able to tell the other people, you know what, these were my rules, you knew them beforehand, I'm not gonna allow you to disrespect me with either my time or my efforts or whatever. And that is very, very key. I like that, Irina.
And thank you. And to the point is also we could be a perfect example for somebody to learn from, our um, experience, from the way we show up in the world, from the way we discipline ourselves, right? Just to show that this could be done by anybody. It's
Mhm.
the skill. It's like, just training our muscle to be disciplined and to do actually something that we want to do. And I think it contributes much to the success, because successful people are the ones to know how to discipline themselves.
That is right. That is right. So let me go ahead and we're gonna take a mini break. We're gonna go into our commercials, and after that, Bruno, you take the floor. Ready?
Yep.
Off we go.
Are you ready to meet the most important person in your life? Are you ready to have the date with yourself? How about learning what you're all about and what are your heart desires? For that, I invite you for my interactive workshop, Meet and Greet Your True Self, where you tap into your potential and understand what exactly you would like to create in your life.
Do you want to learn how to dance salsa and bachata? Well, now's your chance. We have two locations in Lake Worth and Commercial Boulevard in Florida. The first class is complimentary. All you have to do is sign up now. Alrighty, welcome back, everyone, including Kara. Yay!
I made it. Thanks, guys. I'm here.
I forgot that we have the real pluses inside. Okay, so we were talking about self-discipline. That's today's topic, and as you can see now, we have commercials running. And real quick, if you're watching this live, Irina's link is right here for all of you to go and meet your true self. So I cannot wait to hear how you guys do after a session with Irina. She's amazing. So Bruno, take the floor.
So, Kara, welcome. Welcome to the Temple of the Gods. So, basically, we were talking about the power of self-discipline, right? And we were talking about our childhoods, and we were talking about how important self-discipline is, right? So, Kara, I have a question for you, right? How important is self-discipline for you? How much does it impact your life? And what happens when you're not disciplined?
So I firmly believe that consistency is key in all things. What I know to be true is that knowledge is power, but it's not transformation. Retention requires repetition. So if you're not consistently doing things, you're not working towards that goal of building that into your system, it's never going to integrate correctly.
Jeez, Jazu, rich. But and that is so true as well. I mean, like, you usually have that, motivation versus discipline conversation, right? And I think because obviously we're made of emotions, right? And the most, I wouldn't say chronicle, I'd say the most normal thing you could say is like, oh, if you're not motivated, it's fine. But if it really has to be done, like, for example, so I believe like some people, they just don't really have a reason that kind of makes them feel entitled, because there's times where you should feel entitled and there's times where you shouldn't, right? And I think a lot of people, they feel entitled on the times where they shouldn't. And when at times that they should and feel entitled, they're not. They're like, it's fine. And then when it kind of is not. And I think like as well, I believe that motivation implies emotions. Discipline doesn't. Discipline forces you to disconnect with your human side. Right? Woo!
You're right. You're on the
And
money.
I think like it's something that like a lot of people still can't do, or let's say have to be taught how to do, right? Because we're not born like taught, right? And I think it's just something that like, and it obviously triggers all of us. Obviously, it triggers all of us, because we do have to disconnect with that human side, but we're still human, because if we weren't human, then there would be no disconnection. It would just be normal, right? But like actually training your mind and your body and your system to act in that way so it becomes automatic, that's like that's some next level intelligence stuff. So, John, what ways have you developed to just get it on and not even think about it?
Well, the one is the one that you just mentioned, and is setting my feelings aside, because, like you said, discipline has no feelings. Either you do it or you don't, and that is one of the toughest things for people to do, or at least I found that is very tough for me to do. I am of the mindset that I like to help everyone and I want to be able to be there for everyone, but I'm not God. I cannot be everywhere, anytime. I can't. Although I wish, and that has been my toughest hurdle on learning discipline. So I would revert back to that one, and then the other one, and this one is tough, learning to prioritize. Because while you may be super disciplined on doing certain things, part of some of you know I was married at one point. I'm no longer married, but part of my marriage later, after I left my marriage and I did my own digging and I was with a therapist and everything, I found out that my discipline also messed up my marriage because I did not know when to prioritize certain things in life. So it's not an easy task to balance self discipline with priorities because, like we said, one has feelings, the other one has no feelings. So, those are the two things that I would say have helped me shape myself into being a disciplined person. Discipline plus learning how to prioritize.
So awesome. Irina, what about you?
Just to add on priorities, right? What helps me is the calendar. When I set everything in my calendar, I kind of go to that and I know these are the tasks that I'm supposed to finish. And I'm allowed to move things 3 times. So on the third time, I have to commit to that, right? If I'm not in the time frame that I can do everything, I'm allowed to move them twice, and the third time I am committed to finish whatever is on my calendar, and that helps me big time just to deal with that anxiety and not stressing myself out and not thinking that I have not accomplished anything, right? So it keeps my energy in the flow and my nervous system in check, knowing that I'm going to get to that. And when I prioritize, I always want to, prioritize what's more important, to put it like the first ones to complete, and the rest we'll do later on. And I also like to do something like small tasks. At least I have one small task a day, knowing that I started it and I'm going to finish the same day. So this way I have something to celebrate and have a good vibes with. So it does help me big time.
Awesome. What about you, Kara?
Okay, so the question is, how do I leverage consistency in my life? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I liked where you were going with the motivation thing. So what I have learned for myself is that that we think that we need to motivate to do the things, but I have found that you have to do the things to get the motivation. It's sort of a reverse behavior. So
Yeah.
it starts with, right? So it starts with, why are you doing it? Getting really clear on why it is that you are getting up and doing anything today will help you get up. Connecting to the why will help motivate you. But more to that, understanding the longer why, the bigger, not just why you're getting up today, but why are you getting up this year? Why are you getting up this decade? Like, what is that bigger why? Because when you do that, you start to see the things that you need, the habits, the behaviors, the skills that you need to have to be that person. And that informs what you're going to work on with your consistency. I mean, as a coach, I could decide, oh, I want to be a speaker, so I'm going to really practice not saying ums and buts, which is great. But
I saw that one.
but being able to show up and be the most me in front of a camera, I would say that is more consistent. That will create more consistency than just the language that I am using. And that's how I build consistency into my world. What are the skills? What are the habits? What are the behaviors that are going to allow me to be who I want to be? Because if I want to be that person, I have to do those things. And that's where I'm going to focus that's where I'm going to focus, like Irina was saying, on my calendar. I'm going to make sure those things are built into it. They're just part of what it is. And then everything else I can shuffle 3 or 4 times, whatever, because I don't need to be consistent in that.
Awesome. So like priorities and consistency, right? I will say one thing though. The hardest thing in the world is getting up every day and seeing no results and having to work as hard as you did the day before. I'm gonna share it here. I don't have a problem. Before I met you guys, before Irina introduced me to you, before I even met Irina, I spent 6 months doing jack. Not like actually doing jack, just not making any money because I just nothing was working. I tried so many things, nothing was working. And then from day to night, overnight, it wasn't overnight. It was a series of attempts that led me to the good one, to the chosen one, right? The one meant for me, let's say, right? But and I remember being in bed and just lying, like being like dead awake in the bed, thinking like maybe it will be tomorrow. I don't know, right? Because that keeps you up, right? It's like, I mean, come on, like, I mean, honestly, I think I deserve a statue right now. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, but like, and then it's just one of those things where like, it's either you have the self-pity, right, versus ego. And honestly, like, I really had to use my ego in those moments to be like, stop being like that. Like, just stop it. You're doing it because you want to do it, right? Because if not, just take the safe bet, right? And if I probably would have taken the safe bet, right, if I wasn't disciplined enough to continue doing what I should do, right, and right, I would have never met you guys, and I would have never met this, and this would be happening just without me, right? So, I mean, it's just one of those things where like seeing the beauty in the struggle is just like so powerful. Everything around is chaos, and you're still disciplined to like operate in chaos. In my fair opinion, I think the world just becomes Disneyland. Honestly, right? I mean, like, you guys have a very busy schedule. You're always on the run, and you're able to operate on it, right? And like, yeah, I believe like your priorities are so like certain by now, a long time ago, that everything that happens around you is just like fuck it. It's fine. It's just a little fly, whatever. It doesn't matter, right? And all the thing that really matters, that's what you focus on, right? Because another thing about discipline is like you're such in a big focus. Everything that happens around you exists, just not in your world, right? It's like we have this sphere that you don't let anybody penetrate. If you want, nobody goes. If you want, you make a little hole and then you go in, you know. And I think that's just so beautiful. Like I'm gonna obviously focus now. Obviously, so in within the self discipline, I'm gonna go on the focus part. How important it is to focus, right? How important it is to create that environment that lets you really not only focus but lets you kind of focus is the word here, but I want another word, like for example, that lets you prolong that focus, not in a not even not you're not forcing anything, you're letting it flow, right? So you have the focus, but you create the environment to let the focus flow. How important it is that, John?
Well, here's the thing, and exactly, I'm looking for this meme because it brings me back to a meme that I wanted to share with you guys, and but since I cannot find it right away, it's this guy that is looks like they're in a wedding party in a barn, and everybody's leaving with those sparkles, those little things that they use for the holidays and whatnot. And everybody's just jumping and dancing and having fun. This guy with the suit just goes right by the hay, pays no attention that some of the sparkles are jumping in the hay. Of course, the hay lights on fire, and he just keeps dancing while and people shine, like they point at it like it's on fire. Like, look, dude, like stop! And he just keeps dancing and just starts pushing it to the ground while dancing, and then just stomps on it and kills the fire. And then he never stopped dancing. And exactly, he says that's the life of the entrepreneur. That's the life of the self-employed, because we cannot afford to go on that roller coaster of emotions. We just gotta keep going. It is what it is, and part of life tries to distract us from where the focus is, and it's fine to get distracted from time to time, but at the same time, you have to be disciplined enough to say, okay, I'm going to that north, and no matter what, even if I stop for a minute, doesn't mean that I'm going to stop. And that's why I really wanted to applaud what you said early, to be super brave and also open with us and vulnerable into saying, yeah, before joining you guys, this is where my life was at. And I love it that you said was at, because you found your north again and you're shooting for it. So thank you.
Yes. Well, no crashing, just up.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You're going to explode if you don't talk, because you're just like containing yourself.
I was just
So,
thinking, how nice that you think that we have it all under control and that we're just doing the things that matter, and that we don't get totally derailed when things go sideways. I would love to continue that illusion for you, but I'm gonna destroy it. And I firmly believe if you're doing the real work and you're not crying at least once a week, you're probably not working that hard. The difference is doing the work. You're gonna have to do it. You're gonna have to be consistent. You're gonna have to keep doing the things at #adulting every day, all day, ad nauseum. That's how that works. But remembering that a lot of what we do has nothing to do with the actual result. It has to, or it doesn't directly link. It's like planting an apple tree. This is one of my favorite marketers uses this. First, you till the soil and you water it and you prepare the area, and then you plant the seed and you nurture it and you care for it and you love on it. And then, there's giant storms and days where there's no weather. So you have to adjust. You have to put in highlighters so that the sun hits it when it's too cloudy, and you have to cover it in blankets for when it's too cold. And you do all of this work, but you're not going to see that fruit for like a year. or 4 if you're starting from a seed. And remembering that the difference in consistency is remembering that you're building that not for the immediate result, but for that ongoing one. So the reason that we look like we have it all together, which I'm not speaking for them, but I don't. But that looks that way because I have consistently done these same things and I'm now seeing the fruits of that labor. But I had to get clear on what the actual result I was getting from those things were. For example, marketing. Everybody knows and everybody has been told you have to post on the socials to create that consistency so that people see you and build that trust with your brand. Now, this is a known concept. And when I went out and tried to sell myself on the socials and try and get leads and generate sales from that space, it was incredibly soul crushing because I did not gain leads from that space. When I decided to change the results and have it be that I was building understanding of what I could share, I was developing my own language, I was showing up as me for other people consistently so that they could genuinely get to know me, that's a very different result and way easier to deliver on. When I made that shift and I started looking for those results to be the most me, figure out what it is that I say and how I say it that's different than other people, that shift is what brought in leads. That shift is what brought in sales. That changed everything. So understanding, like back to that, understand why you're doing what you are doing and is it delivering the result? And is this a 1 year later result? Are you tilling the soil with this behavior? If you know that, then when it absolutely does not produce fruit for an entire year, you're not like, oh my God, I'm such a failure. You're like, oh, yep, no, that was expected. So I love that you think that we've got it all together, but we
Damn.
No, we definitely
Irina,
don't have it all
what about
together.
you?
Well, Johnny wanted to say something and then I'll go.
No, all I want to say is that we're going to commercials. We're going to go to commercials and we're getting right back to Irina, okay? See you guys in a second.
Are you ready to meet the most important person in your life? Are you ready to have the date with yourself? How about learning what you're all about and what are your heart desires? For that, I invite you for my interactive workshop, Meet and Greet Your True Self, where you tap into your potential and understand what exactly you would like to create in your life.
Do you want to learn how to dance salsa and bachata? Well, now's your chance. We have 2 locations in Lake Worth and Commercial Boulevard in Florida. The first class is complimentary. All you have to do is sign up now. All right, we're all back.
All right, guys.
Irina,
all
go
right.
right ahead.
So, yep.
Right.
Irina.
So my turn. I wanted to say about focus, right? If we wake up in the morning feeling sorry for ourselves, feeling pitiful and miserable, where did our focus go? So basically, our energy goes where our attention flows, and that's exactly where the focus goes. So if we wake up thinking that we are not, we are failures, we are not successful as we want to be, our focus already directed in that location, and our energy is gonna run through that program. But instead, if we focus in the morning and saying, today is going to be a great day. Today, I'm open for new connections, for new opportunities, for new beginnings. And that's exactly what Kara said when she said, know your why. Because your why is something that's going to, make you up in the morning and do something that you might not want to do if you think about the routine you're supposed to do or discipline yourself. But when you have that picture of why you are doing it, what is going to be your ending result, what are you trying to achieve, and you actually imagine that life that you want for yourself, this is something that's going to drive you, and this is something that's going to drive you far away in life. So it's very important to choose the right focus. And obviously, as Bruno mentioned, we cannot be on our own on this path, because this is not a traditional path that everybody takes. So for us to prosper and to learn and to grow, we have to be in the structure of support. So we all have coaches, we all have mentors, and we all stay in the space of like-minded people, because there are a lot of people who are surrounding ourselves don't understand us. They look at us like we have 3 eyes or 5 ears. And they think that, like, these people are not normal. Like, what the hell they are doing, right? But this is the beauty of it, because there are many of us like that, with 3 eyes and 5 ears, right? Because we want something more out of this life. We don't want to live just, mediocre life. We don't want to settle for that. We want to live the most fulfilling, the life that is, gives us the freedom. We don't want to depend on how economy is doing and be scared for our bank accounts. We don't want to look at the politics and, for that to decide, how we're going to run our life. We want to be the ones responsible for our life. And that's why we go through all that rigor experience that we are going through. That's why we are putting on the discipline, knowing that the end result is the freedom to do what we love to do, the freedom to have as much money in the bank account as we want to, have our financial freedom, the freedom to travel where we want to travel, the freedom to contribute to the causes that we want to contribute. So when we have this big picture, and it's also like spending time with the family, right? Because this is something that a lot of people are not having, because if they work for somebody, they depend on that, employer schedule in order to see, how much time they could spend with the family. And I was also in that position. So it's like discipline. Yeah, it requires the effort. It requires, a lot of structure, but at the same time, it's very rewarding. Because if we are still breathing for another 365 days, we are going to create the life regardless. So what's the point to create the life the same way as we already created it before? Let's try something new. Stop doing it by default. Let's do it by design. And that's the whole beauty of it.
Jesus, awesome, great, Jesus. That's so cool. And like, for example, I heard balance from Johnny, I heard energy from Kara, and I heard organization from Irina. Okay, great. So balance is extremely important, because like, again, like, you can like, this idea that rest is not important and you should overwork yourself is just, if not the biggest lie and stupidity I've ever heard in my life. You need to rest. You need to, like, you have to. Now, one thing is saying like, oh, I'm so tired, and like, you've been on your couch for like 15 hours. That's one thing. Another thing is being like, I worked for 15 hours, and I'm like, bro, you need to rest your mind. Like, even a half an hour, 1 hour power nap. Like, athletes work harder than you because they have to, professional ones, right? And they have power naps. They have to, because if they don't, they pass out, because they're always on the move and everything is so hard and so stressful, and then they have to go for commercials and this and that. If they don't rest, if they don't take a power nap during the day, they're gone. That's it. Their brain explodes, and they're not healthy, and they lose everything. And you connect that to energy, that Gara said. Your energy is like healed, right? Your energy needs healing as well. You need something to heal your energy. It's not just the things you eat or the things you drink or the things you see or the things you hear or the things you say. It's always your rest. Your rest is super important. You have to rest, right? You have to because that's the thing, right? Your body is a world. Your own body is a universe, right? The amount of like 100,000 kilometers your arteries and veins have is like ridiculous, right? I think like our arteries have like, I don't want to lie, we all seem ridiculous here, but like 100,000 kilometers or something like that, that our veins can have, or something like that. I heard something like that. That's like I'm going from Morocco to Russia or more, or Australia or whatever, right? That's like, and that's all inside your body. No matter how tiny or tall you are, that's all inside your body, right? Your body needs rest. Your body is a mechanism. Your brain is the biggest supercomputer in the world. I don't care about artificial intelligence. I don't care about nothing. Your own brain is the biggest supercomputer you have in your life. Is your brain. You control your brain, you control everything, minus the things you can control, right? The things that actually matter to control, you control, because you control your own mind, right? But you can't control your own mind if you're tired. I mean, you can put yourself through that, but if you are rested, you have more energy to more stuff. You are less because you're actually like, you're sane enough and you're conscious of the things you're doing and saying, right? And that helps a lot when it's about this being disciplined. That helps a lot when it's time to be conscious, right? That the more tired you are, the less easy is to negate how you're feeling, right? Because you start to feel sorry for yourself, because the pity comes in, right? And the entitlement comes in, and oh, I'm worth more, I shouldn't feel like this. No, 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 no. You start to victimize yourself when you yourself put yourself in that position, right? So although it looks like a lot, and it looks like, oh, maybe you're making a big deal out of it, maybe in the beginning you don't see it, but there's a thing called compound effect that works for everything in life, right? And when you hit that, like when the fuse stops, like lighting, when the fuse stops to ignite, it actually explodes, and there's glass over there and all that stuff. That's where, like, that's when you something snaps, as you usually say, right? That's where, like, you tip. That's it. Was there any time in your life that you overworked yourself too much to a point where you like were like pass out, or you were like about to, or like where you pushed yourself too much because of pressure or stress, or you just weren't feeling too well and you still pushed and it actually was worse? John.
Well, the thing is that, and I'm actually looking for something based on what you're saying, because we do need the energy, we do need everything that you mentioned, but some of the greatest people in the world, or people that have achieved something in the world, it's because they've been disciplined. It's not because they have this great mind, or like, it's because they've been disciplined. It's nothing more than that. So let's take a quick look, if you don't mind me sharing a video. It's a very short video from Mike Tyson that talks about that nothing gets achieved without discipline. If you don't mind me sharing that, you're good with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Love
Let's bring Mike Tyson to our screen. Second. And share. Okay, so let's watch Mike Tyson real quick.
How good you are in anything, you don't have discipline, you ain't nobody.
Right.
You're nothing without discipline, because you give up under the slightest struggle without discipline.
100%.
Discipline is doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it.
Doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it. That is a great quote. And if you can do that, you could be successful in anything.
You normally are.
Yeah.
I don't care how good you are in anything.
So that's what I meant. Is everybody still there? Everybody hear me? good.
Yeah.
Good. So let me go ahead and remove this one. Yeah. Discipline is everything. Nothing can be achieved without it.
So cool. It's actually a very interesting point. First of all, I love Mike Tyson. And like yeah, I mean, it's so true as well. Like, do it, like, do what you hate with a smile. I mean, that's really powerful, because like, you're doing what you hate, you would rather not do it, but you know it's for your best, and like, you're emotionally intelligent enough to do that. That's like, that's awesome. Irina, what do you think?
Yes, I wanted
Tell us your
to
thoughts.
say, as far as overwork, you know what I notice when you do what you love, rather than losing that energy, I'm actually having more energy. That's what they say. When you do what you love, you're not working even a single hour. So what I noticed for myself, I love that cat. I'm a cat person. Sorry. I just had to mention it. What I noticed for myself is just like when I love what I'm doing, when I'm in that creative flow or energy, I actually kind of, like on the second wave of my day, like I noticed I could create more. But of course, I always try to be mindful, because sooner or later I'm gonna feel that when I don't have enough hours of sleep, it's gonna catch to me. So obviously I'm trying to be very mindful with the time management, and I remain not stressing myself, because like I don't know if we just had this in this conversation or another conversation. No, I think, Kara, it was on your LA workshop that we've been together, that when we are resting, it doesn't mean that we have to blame ourselves and saying that, look, we are just wasting the time, because this is the time for us to also rejuvenate. And sometimes during the relaxation, things also like happening, on the energetic level. So even though we could be resting, we shouldn't feel bad. We should just, listen to our body. If our body is tired and has to rest, we just have to provide that.
So cool. So awesome. Kara, tell
So
us.
the question, have I ever worked myself too hard where it was detrimental? Yes. The short answer is so many times. It was standard operating procedure in my corporate world to burn the candle at both ends with a flamethrower right through the middle, just to make sure you were productive enough. It was not at all uncommon for me to put in a 16-hour day, go party for 4 hours, wake up 4 hours later, and do it again. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
at this point, I'm gonna remove myself.
Oh, okay.
Just kidding.
So yeah, the answer is holy bunches. It has been a hard learned lesson that if you don't take time for yourself will take time from you, period.
Yeah.
So I want to share actually the moment that it really clicked for me that self-care was business care. You would think it would have to do with the horrible postpartum and starting a business and having a baby. Nope, didn't catch on then. But I was working with this coach, Amanda Kaufman. She does the Coaches Plaza, and she started to win awards on how big and fast her business was growing. Huge success, global recognition. And it started when she decided to schedule a bubble bath in the middle of every day. She chose to block out time in the middle of her day to get her cute little butt into a bubble bath, and not. She had great ideas. She'd come up with content. That morning brain her would suddenly, where normally on the after hours, your boss might not be the best person to hang out with because they've already hit optionitis. She didn't get that. She got 2 blocks of day where she was like fresh and ready to go. And I thought, Oh my God, that makes so much sense. And that was when I learned.
Interesting, amazing, awesome. So, well, let's say this. So we talked about energy, we talked about balance, we talked about consistency, we talked about focus, we talked about we clearly wrapped it up pretty well there. So in regards of all of those topics, as we all know, all of those topics are important. They all have their importance, right? Not maybe not that you would choose one over the others, but which one do you believe could be more detrimental, therefore more important, than all the others together? John, what do you think?
The thing is that to me, none of them are one more important than the other. To me, they're all important. The thing is finding the balance, like everything in life. Finding the balance is the hard part, because we all know that we need discipline. We all know that we need focus. We all know that we need time for ourselves. That's why I was telling you when Kara was saying, like, I remember part of me was partying for 4 hours. I was worse than I was worse. I will do my 8 hour shift. If, if you're from Florida, you know that driving from Florida to Atlanta, Georgia, it takes 12, or at least from where I'm at in Florida, it's 12 hours. This person right here will finish work on, let's say, a Friday, 5 p.m., drive for 12 hours, arrive to Atlanta, okay, 6 a.m., go take care of business in Atlanta without not even 1 hour sleep, straight out from the car. And then in the afternoon, then go and party till Sunday morning. Still no sleep.
Christ.
Then drive 12 hours back and then crash. Like, I will get on my bed and crash. Like, a train will go by me and nothing. And then later that started sending me, the bill. John, remember that time you went to party? Here's the bill. So that's what I'm saying. All of them are important. There's nothing that is not important. I know that I am a party animal. That's why now the whole work hard, play hard. I'm like, I work hard. I'll play okay. I'll play nice with everybody in the sandbox, but I'll play okay. But okay, it's been awesome time. It's time to start and give it a quick wrap. So today it's been a fantastic day. Bruno, thank you very much for leading the topic. Kara, thank you very much for joining us. Irina, thank you very much. Today we start a new chapter with commercials and everything, so we're looking forward to getting this a little more organized and ready for you guys, for you to have a better experience. So thank you. And anybody else wants to add anything else?
No, just it was a pleasure as always, for the audience who is going to be listening later, drop the comments. Just wanted to know what are your thoughts about self-discipline, and maybe share some great tips, right? Because we all have the experience with that. And just remember that you are not the only one on this, journey of life. And self-discipline is important, but sometimes it's hard to discipline yourself. That's why you have people who are there to coach you, to help you, to guide you, and to give you that structure of support that we all need. So just take advantage of it.
Yes. All right. In that case, bye, everybody.